So, you want to roll a fighter. Well, here's what you need to know. A fighter does what it says on the tin. It fights. No magic, no gimmicks, just you, the enemy, and the biggest, sharpest stick you can find. And it does this very well. Fighters can pick up a weapon they've never even heard of and still be better with it than you. Just ask the monk. As we all know, an extra 2 to hit means an extra 2 to crit. And if you didn't know that, hi! Welcome to Pathfinder. I am so sorry this is how you're learning about the system. Fighters may dole out crits like tech companies dole out pink slips at the end of the fiscal year, but cut them some slack. Stat checking is all they have. So what if they reach the same weapon proficiency most marshals cap out at by level 5? It's just one weapon group, and they gave up having any real class features for it. The GM could get them to tongue punch their fart box just by changing the cool weapon in their next treasure haul from a sword to a hammer or whatever. Let fighters have this. Small correction, they do get one real class feature. They get 1 to 2 extra class feats they can retrain every day. Your best bet is to use these on some of those feat trees that you wouldn't base your whole build around, but still add a bit of spice to your usual rotation. Some of these subclasses include dealing with flying enemies, dealing with flying enemies if you've dumped dex, swatting away ranged attacks, and the single most broken combination of abilities I've ever seen. There is a capstone that gives you another of these feats, but honestly, if there was a feat you wanted so badly that you'd pick it over permanent haste or uncapped reactions, you probably already took it. Here is normally where I'd start breaking down the subclass options, but, well, you know how a lot of marshals have interchangeable feats for certain weapon loadouts? That's the closest fighters get to an actual subclass, so let's just roll it. For those of you who watch too much anime and stan unorthodox fighting styles, dual-wielding fighters offer a nice blend of offense and defense. It comes with a reactive strike alternative for when your enemy fucks up a little too hard, and caps off with a choice in spec. Either you free up your twin parry action for a roided up double slice that's practically guaranteed to miss, or sacrifice action economy for accuracy, choosing between offense and defense each turn. Or, you could just take the other one later. It's not illegal. Also, shout out to Agile Grace, because you'll most likely have at least one agile weapon, and anything that lowers MAP is god tier. Archery feats expand your capabilities with ranged weapons, from weakening enemies to hitting targets you can't see to the medieval equivalent of a drive-by. But the clear advantage of archery feats is continuing to ask how many arrows you can shoot at once until the answer is yes. Sadly, crossbow and gun users are left high and dry with a lot of these feats. Oh well, they'll just have to make do with bonus damage or pick the class specifically designed for them. For my fellow tank enjoyers, you can't go wrong with a few shield feats. Defend your allies, block spells, defend your allies from spells. A few feats are there just to lower the action tax of using a shield, which I both love because it makes tanking easier, and hate because why does it take half my action economy just to hold up my left arm? But sword and board fighters aren't limited to just taking hits. They can also push back, possibly slamming the enemy into a wall like an extra violent kabedon. That last bit is also doable via the Great Weapon Fighter, albeit through a different starting feat. They actually get a few CC options if the vanilla combos start to get stale. Most of these aren't specifically relegated to two-handed weapons, but we all know who these were made for. They're for the fighters who pick up the biggest, sharpest fuck you stick and use whatever methods get them by until they can realize their true calling. Lastly, we have the duelist? Fencer? Dumbass who went to battle with only a one-handed weapon and nothing else? Or maybe I'm the dumbass, considering how weirdly diverse this otherwise niche weapon loadout is. Granted, half of it is gimmicks they took from other fighters, including the parry shit from dual wielders and the ally blocking from tanks. They even let you pretend to be a great weapon fighter just long enough to reap the benefits without repercussion. Either someone at Paizo is a Fiora main, or they designed this loadout from a hotel room cuck chair. If you'd prefer something with a little originality, duelists have 2 unique playstyles to choose from. Grab and stab, which works nicely with advantageous assault, and smack shit out of your enemy's hands and make them waste actions to pick it back up like a dick. If any of what I've said has made you want to play a fighter, I issue you this warning. People will call you basic, especially if you're playing a human fighter. In a world of gods, magic, and monsters, you're choosing to be just a guy with a sword. What could possibly be more boring? To them, I would say this. You're facing down a world of gods, magic, and monsters with nothing more than a sword. What could possibly be more badass? You might also just be a power gamer, because let's be honest, humans and fighters are both pretty busted.